Hello, hey, welcome to Joel Oliver from Purify Me. Joel is the founder and CEO of this amazing product that I have been personally invested in researching for the last little while, and I'm just so excited to be able to have this conversation with Joel today, so that we can let you in on how you can hopefully restore your health after the incident of 2020, where we know that people's health started to take a bit of a turn. So today we're going to talk about specifically spike protein and all the ins and outs of that protein. And yeah, so I just wanted to first of all say welcome and thank you so much for coming along and lending your time to us. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. Really excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So cool. All right, so let's just crack straight into it and let's just I know that the girls would probably want to know what actually sort of pre-qualifies you to speak into this space about, how to get rid of this yucky stuff out of your system. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Talia. So my story is not the typical linear trajectory into healthcare. So during the first lockdowns, I sold a finance mortgage brokerage, which I'd spent the last 8 years building. I was involved in finance for 20 years. So that decision gave me the freedom to go all in on my true passion, which is health and human performance. So even before COVID hit, I'd spent years researching and helping people overcome acute and chronic health issues. So my title now is like I'm a human performance strategist. That was a natural evolution, not a pivot,
Mm,
but a return to what I care about most.
mm,
So, so I do look after private clients, through CEOs to elite military personnel, professional fighters, and just general people that are sick of the not finding the solution. There's a lot of people out there that can't find it through the traditional means and look to go for natural alternatives.
mm,
So during COVID, as you can imagine, I had some questions. I
mm.
had a lot of questions. I was watching the world shift in ways that just didn't make sense to me,
Yep.
scientifically, ethically, and also morally.
Mm,
So as we all know, the media was pushing a lot of fear.
mm,
The messaging was constantly changing, and I kept hearing things like trust the science.
mm.
One thing with science is there's no morality in science. If there was morality in science, there wouldn't be a nuclear bomb,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. Like science is just science. So trusting the science is like you need to dig a little bit deeper into what you're actually trusting. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, Stop the spread is an interesting phenomenon when it comes to the history of vaccines. And hybrid immunity is a very interesting concept that not many people had heard before. So none of that sat well with me. And I was watching the country that was traditionally built on, unity and critically thinking, standing up for what's right. I mean, we've got a history of doing that with multiple areas,
mm.
tearing itself apart. And while that was happening, people were getting sicker. Myocarditis was something not a lot of people had heard before, was on the rise. Heart attacks and strokes, turbo cancers, and even sudden deaths
Yeah.
became a weekly headline, um, which is still actually occurring and not being reported.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's interesting to note that you can look up health records and government websites available to everyone dating back to the World War II, but there is nothing published since 2021 yet. Every year up until that date, you could find out how many people had strokes, how many people had heart attacks, how many people had cancers.
Mm.
Why is that not there? I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. So,
I do
uh,
know. However.
yeah, so being in health and wellness for my entire life, I was raised on natural principles and find foundational truth. So one of my favorite doctors, Dr. Bernard Jensen, he said, we don't simply catch diseases, we create them. And how we do that is by breaking down our natural defenses, our immune system, by how we eat, drink, live, and think.
Yeah.
So I was that kid that always got told off for daydreaming. What
Mm,
they didn't realize I was building my imagination.
mm,
And I've always been curious. I grew up in West Auckland. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, but we did have a set of encyclopedias, and that's how I pretty much entertained myself.
mm,
Um, I loved history at school. Later, I got into etymology and epistemology. So, what that is actually understanding not just what we believe, but how we came to believe that knowledge. How did knowledge actually come? Who was involved when knowledge was formed and history was written? For example, so in the early 1900s, John Rockefeller, he was an oil tycoon. He created the General Education Board to reshape medical education. So he only funded schools and he worked with the government that taught drug-based allopathic medicine, or as you'd know today as just the general ibuprofen, that sort of thing, petroleum-based medicine. It's called petroleum-based because it's petroleum-based. It's not natural.
mm,
At the time, he invested in petrochemicals, which laid the foundation for modern pharmaceutical industries, um, sidelining natural healing. For thousands of years, natural healing was the way.
mm,
And that was the origin of the company that you know as Pfizer.
mm.
So,
Wow.
so the same people prescribing are being taught a particular thing about health, which is symptom based and not cause based. So that made me lean in more. So during COVID, I asked a few too many questions in a very logical way. Like it would be nice to have a debate on TV. I remember having a debate team at school, and it's like it's fascinating to hear one side and the other, and you're sort of going it's which way, and you can make up your own mind. But so, and I got shadow banned for what it turns out now was sharing something that said that the vaccine didn't stop transmission, which is common knowledge now. So that's what I wanted to unpack today. We'll talk about the spike, we'll talk about mRNA, we'll talk about the ingredients which no one explains, and we'll talk about why persistent inflammation and clotting is at the root of most lingering symptoms. And most importantly, at the end, we'll discuss what can be done about it.
Okay. That is a very comprehensive intro into what qualifies you, and I love it because very much aligned to that because I've been into natural, um, I guess natural, not necessarily just medicine, but all natural things since I was in my early 20s. And I've always been a question asker, so I don't, it's just the way I think. I don't, I take the information, then I want to unpack it. I want answers. And if I can't get answers, if somebody's just telling me, you just listen and you just do as I say, not as I do, then like that, yeah, that I think that puts I get really uptight about that, and I need to know more. I need to unpack more. So this conversation that we're having right now started from me, literally I went onto your website, I saw the product, I'd heard about it. I I thought that it sounded exactly like what I was looking for my partner, and I wanted, but there wasn't enough answers for me. I wanted more answers. I wanted to ask questions. So I literally pursued, your website, and then I was able to have that conversation with you. And we have had, obviously quite a few conversations before this chat today. So I know what we're going to be talking about, and I'm really passionate about your product because I know that I've been researching this since 2020 as well, and I have got a keen mind for natural healing and medicine. So when I came across your product and I saw that it had such familiar ingredients in it, I was like, what the heck? This could be a game changer. So, and the more we talk, the more I know that this is a game changer. So let's first of all talk about the vaccine was, as we all know, was an untested, unproven way to create immunity against COVID. And since then, we've seen nothing but, well, not nothing but a whole heap of sickness and dis-ease and people's health going south, really, eh? So, and I know that a lot of us know that, well, women know that they're feeling sicker and their partners are sicker and just everybody around them are not well anymore. And so I thought, let's talk about what are the things that are causing their bodies to be like this and why are they feeling so unwell? What has this vaccine done in our bodies? I didn't take it, just by the way. But what has it done in people's bodies and why are they feeling this level of dis-ease in their bodies?
Sure. Great question. Now, before we go into that, I thought it's important to frame this up because it is, I understand it's very sensitive information to those who did take the vaccine. And I don't know your audience 100%, but based on many conversations like this, um, I'd imagine there's probably three types of people.
Mhm.
One, you've heard about the spike protein and seen posts on IG or Facebook, and you know something doesn't add up. You've done a bit of research and you're keen to find out more. Two, you maybe don't feel the same since being vaccinated, which is like a lot of people. Or you're seeing people around you get sick or develop acute or a chronic disease, or maybe even more sinister than that, like it pass unexpectedly. Or three, you're just curious, maybe skeptical, which is fair enough. You want to believe this couldn't happen. You wonder why a company or why a health system would allow this. And to that person, I just want to simply say this. So in business, a shareholder or director is legally required to act in the best interest of the company. And
Mm,
companies do not have feelings. They're an entity. So they have one core directive, and that's to grow profits year after year. And pharmaceutical companies have been doing this for decades, some for centuries in principle. So they're exceptional at finding ways to drive profit. They're never going to say, we've made enough this year. Let's focus on healing the root cause so we don't have to keep dispensing billions of dollars in prescriptions to treat symptoms. That's just not how the machine works.
yeah.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. So what it's important to understand like what vaccines were supposed to do. So this is what we're told.
Yeah.
So Pfizer, Medina, all the rest were designed to deliver temporary instructions to your cells to make the spike protein, which is just one part of the virus. So your immune system would recognize it and build up protection. It's how many other vaccines have been created before. So it was injected into the upper arm, and the mRNA is carried inside like tiny lipid nanoparticles, and they're meant to stay local, fusing with nearby tissue and immune cells only. So the cells that absorb the mRNA read the code, produce the spike protein on the surface, kind of like a flag, and this flags the immune system. Hey, here's what the virus looks like. Go build some antibodies.
So
So the
stop you there before we go too deep into it, just because I need to know this as well. So is the spike protein like a delivery mechanism? That's not a part of the vaccine. That's just the thing that delivers the vaccine into your body. Is that how that
The
works?
mRNA delivers it, yes, and produces the spike. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for that reaction, 100%. Like an envelope
Uh,
delivering a message.
Interesting.
Mm,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So the immune system recognizes the spike as foreign and attacks the cells showing it, and it builds antibodies, sends T cells from the immune system. Um, so you got future protection. So yeah, to answer your question, think of it of SARS, the virus, as a sealed envelope delivering the message.
Yeah. Wow.
The envelope is the outer shell
Yeah.
covered in the spike protein.
Yeah.
Inside the letter, the virus's genetic code or RNA is that hijacks to your cells and makes more of the virus. Just having the spike protein without the full envelope and letter isn't enough to cause the infection.
Yeah.
So otherwise, you just keep getting the virus over and over, right?
Yeah. Just again, before you get further into it, the spike protein, the envelope, is it's supposed to deliver it. It's of no value to the body, the spike protein itself.
To trigger the immune response.
Trigger the immune.
Trigger the immune response. Yep. So it can then understands and go, okay, puts up the flag and it's like, immune system, we need to go deal with this.
Okay, so it's a to
Yep.
trigger it. Okay. And then the spike protein is supposed to just naturally dissipate out of the body. Is that what? Okay, right.
That's what we're told.
Yep.
That's what we're told. So, yeah, your immune system sees a spike, deals with it, and you build antibodies. Job done.
Yep.
But this is what actually happened. So, according to later research, and this is including Pfizer's own biodistribution studies, is that the mRNA and the spike protein didn't stay local. So instead, they're found in the bloodstream, the liver, spleen, bone marrow, and ovaries, adrenal glands, and even in some cases, the heart and the brain. So here's something that a lot of people don't know. So Pfizer submitted a document early on. It was called the Cumulative Analysis of Post-Authorization Adverse Event Report. So it includes a list of 1,291 adverse events of special interest. So these aren't just random side effects. They're a curated list of medical conditions that regulators were specifically watching for after the vaccine rolled out. So why was it 1,291? Because they were based on four things: known vaccine reactions, autoimmune risks. There's a word that will go into autoimmune, um, theoretical effects of the spike protein, and also early safety signals seen in the trial data.
Yeah.
So this is the sad thing about it. That report was dated the 30th of April 2021. It wasn't made public right away, but it came out later around March 22.
Um,
Only after a Freedom of Information Act request.
wow.
Anyone can look that up. That is you can just do your own research. You can look at it yourself. Yeah. Hmm.
I'm just so the thing is they knew.
100%.
The other thing is that from my knowledge, and I'm not a doctor or anything like that, not a scientist, anything like that, but I know that vaccines take multiple many years to be approved. So how fast did they create this vaccine for COVID? How fast did it happen and end up being ingested in our bodies?
Yeah, abnormally quick compared to previous vaccines, like years and years and years faster.
I think it was
Mm.
like 7 years or something like that, eh? And
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they've been rolled out before that report was written. So,
really, so so yeah, so we are literally the crash test dummies of this vaccine.
um, that's one way to put it. There's another way to put it, which I think if we dive in deeper into like more about the spike protein, that may answer some questions. Hmm. Hmm. So, so now that you know like the delivery method, it'd be good to go into like what does that even mean? Like, how does it affect us?
Mm,
Hmm. So it's the spike is a tiny part of the virus that attaches to your cells. So if you think of it as a key, it fits perfectly into the ACE2 receptor, um, which is kind of a lock found on cells all over your body. And we've got like 30 trillion cells estimated. So once it binds, your immune system sounds the alarm, raise the flag, and it floods your body with cytokines, which are chemical messages that trigger inflammation. So that's great in small doses because you want the T cells and your immune system to fight it. But when it happens at scale, and now we're talking billions of spike proteins, you get oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, which we'll go into everything that follows there. So essentially your body switches into low power mode, it's producing less energy, more acid, and a whole lot of problems. So fatigue, brain fog, chronic pain. Um, and if that spike protein sticks around longer than expected, that's when it starts getting quite, excuse me, quite dark.
So, so interesting because, I feel like I know a lot more about probably than some people do about this vaccine. I've always deep dived into it since 2020. I've always wanted to have the answers to this. But the thing is that you can't say any or everything that you want to say to people, especially when they're feeling so unwell. Lots of people don't want to hear that it could potentially have been created by the vaccine. But I see posts in my community groups all the time, daily, talking about just what you said there, like the chronic fatigue, the lots of fibromyalgia, inflammation, stress disorders, so much neurological stuff, so many autoimmune things happening, even things like so much pain in joints and people not being able to walk as freely anymore. And if nothing else, just a general feeling of malice and just a general feeling of, I just don't feel myself anymore. I just don't feel well. And so that is a common theme through the group. And I see it online everywhere. And I feel like I know what it is. I feel like I think this is to do with the vaccine. I feel like I know that. But what you can't tell everybody that it's the vaccine because they totally believed in the science, like you said. They literally listened to the propaganda and they totally believed the science. So how do we now help people to understand that, you've just given us scientific I guess, proof that the spike protein has caused absolute internal inflammation all over your body, which can trigger all of these different things which people are suffering through. So, how do we get people who believed in the science of the vaccine now to believe in the science of something that can detox this out?
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, the spike can then lodge into tissues all over the body, like the heart, the brain, ovaries,
Yeah.
um, all over, and cause those inflammatory responses. So, I mean, endometriosis is on the rise, as you know. We've got the autoimmune.
Yep.
Everyone, so many people are got autoimmune issues, and they're giving corticosteroids to suppress the immune system even further, which is just baffling. But I think it's also important to understand, like, has there been any, is there any data or has there been studies on how long does the spike protein stay in the body for? Because once the spike's gone, then you're not going to have this inflammatory response, right? It's not going to keep flagging the immune system, which is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. It can only do so much. And then it expresses its weakness in 1,291 possible reactions. And if you go, I read that report, and it's everything. It's like everything, like shingles and BV and like everything that you're hearing that is so common now is basic histamine response. People have allergies, they never had allergies before. It's just the weakening of the immune system. So there's a really important study done just this year in February from Yale, and it found that with a subset of people with long-term post-vaccine symptoms, the spike protein was still detectable in their blood for
Wow.
up to 709 days later.
Far out.
So nearly 2 years after the injection.
Amazing.
So that's not the 48-hour reaction that we
Yep.
were told, right? So um, healthy individuals that were in the study, this is the interesting part, didn't retain the spike. So that's really encouraging. That also tells us something important, that the issue isn't the same for everyone.
Mm.
Um, some people clear the spike and others don't.
Oh.
Um, and we'll get into shedding in maybe the next call, and go over the ins and outs of shedding as well. So if you got one thing that we didn't discuss, if you just got the COVID virus, so you said you didn't get vaccinated, so what happens then? So the virus itself, if you find this interesting, the virus itself doesn't instruct the body to keep making spike protein in the way that the vaccine does.
Mm,
And and here's why. So the virus enters your cells and uses its own RNA to replicate the new virus. So your body fights off the infection, triggering an immune response, as we said before, and there's no ongoing instructions to make the spike. So, but as we discussed before, the mRNA in the vaccine does. It's also very interesting to note, and this is, you can look this up yourself, but the definition of vaccine changed in 2021. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, by the way you're looking at, you might be. So pre-21, a product, the vaccine is a product that stimulates a person's immune system to produce immunity, protecting the person from the disease. That is what, for as long as vaccines have been around, has been the definition.
yeah.
Post 21, a preparation that is used to stimulate the body's immune response against diseases.
Well, that's quite a change.
Well, there's no more produces immunity and there's no more protects you from disease. That was 2021.
Wow. And that just protects their butts actually to change far out. That's the only thing that gets protected, eh? Um, that's crazy. That's crazy. But it makes sense. So I just want to go back to, sorry, I'm jumping a little bit back, but the 709 days for the spike protein, which is more realistic. What, but you said that the spike protein keeps triggering things in the immune system like inflammation.
So
Are,
it keeps producing more and more of itself.
yes,
Mm.
that's what I was going to say. So after 709 days, it's not necessarily gone. It's just gone if it hasn't tried to reproduce itself before 709 days. So it potentially.
Yeah, correct, correct. So here's some clear facts that sum that up. The question, has it been proven that everyone clears the spike protein 100% after receiving the mRNA vaccine? No. It is not definitely proven that everyone clears the spike protein completely.
Mm, great.
Has
Marvelous.
it been proven how long it stays in vaccinated people? No, it hasn't. There's no universal time frame. There's no universal time frame.
So
Um,
so that's crazy. So let's just say that in the best case scenario, you're somebody who clears the spike protein, but your body has already created inflammation. You still are going to potentially have health issues that have been created from that spike protein, even when it's out of your body. So is that something that can your body come back from that once the spike protein's gone?
100%, 100%. The body is amazing at healing itself.
Okay.
It really is. Yeah, you can 100% come back. And I've seen it firsthand hundreds of times, maybe even thousands now.
That is so amazing. I
through,
just,
through blood work and through extensive blood work markers and live blood analysis as well, which is getting thrown around in the Herald at the moment, which is interesting. But I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can see with live blood. I mean,
yeah.
maybe we can do this in next week's session. I can show some amazing pictures and slides, but it,
Because I have seen them, I actually did.
yeah,
It's
it's
part of
amazing. It's like, I don't know how you can call it quackery. It's like your blood is there and you can see it live and your picture tells 1,000 words. It's like, is that quackery or getting some taken out, getting it sent somewhere you don't know, and then someone telling you that you got normal markers and the markers are based on the average of like the most sickest people? I don't know. Like, what are the markers based on?
yeah,
They seem to be prescribing a lot based on
yeah,
abnormal markers or markers that keep changing every year, but that's another conversation.
another conversation. But that's all right. We've got plenty of time, I guess, in the future. So I thought, like This is so exciting for me, so exciting because I personally have never seen people so desperate to be well. And I mean, that sounds horrible because it's, ironic that I'm excited that people are not well because I know that this means now they're going to actively look towards getting well. And for me, I've always been so passionate about natural ways to, achieve health. Not saying I'm perfect at that either, but it's just that I do have lots of information. So the thing is, like, I'm seeing people come and start ask questions because their doctors can't give them an answer anymore. So they're getting gaslit and left, right, and center. Like they're being told they drink too much coffee, they need to get better rest, stop drinking V. Like, they're being told, it's just stress from all your children. It's blah, blah, blah. It's all the things, but none of it is what we know that it is, that we started feeling sicker after we got this particular vaccination and the whole world is getting sicker and we're seeing it. I want to talk about now because we've heard a little bit of the science. We've heard, like your explanation of it as well, which is great because I think I needed to understand it. That means other people probably do too. What is in, so Purify Me is the product that you've been developing since 2020, roughly around 2020 to 2021.
2021. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
3 years R&D
that's right.
involved in it.
Yeah. And you've literally just spent your whole day and night, literally, for all of that amount of time,
100%. Yeah.
making sure you get a good product. Okay, so there's a couple of questions that I know that the girls will ask, and I've seen them floating around. One of them is that there are a lot of vitamins and supplements out there, and what would make your one like any better than any other supplements? So that would be a first question, and I've got a few others.
Okay, you want to start on that one
Yeah,
first?
let's start with that one. Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
tons.
no problem. So yeah, 3 years R&D, traveled to the States as well to see what they were doing there with certain, it's not the first spike protein detox, not that we even market it as that because it solves so many problems. And once you understand further, and we can talk about that in another session, is like when that immune response is caused, there's a protein in the blood called fibrin, which actually like sends scaffolding to the inflammatory site. That's where your T cells get sent through to. If you think of a bruise, it's like internal bleeding. It's like half meant to like immobilize or make you aware that something's going on, and then it heals. So, but what it does is diverts that immune energy to the site. But why I'm saying that is like once you understand the mechanism between fibrin, um, which is an immune response, and when you go to chronic inflammation, you produce more fibrin, but what fibrin is it thickens the blood into a clot.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the spike protein reproducing itself, essentially like attacking the immune system in layman's terms, producing more fibrin, more fibrin, more fibrin, and that's causing the clots and obviously the whole systemic inflammatory response. So um, yeah, so traveled to America, all around the world, studied what everyone was doing. I've got a team of scientists in Australia, and we wanted to make the most pure, strongest, and most tolerable as well is really important when you're talking about detox products.
Mhm.
Because if we know that we can do something for inflammation, then it's not just about the spike protein, although, as you say, like you've seen the ingredients, you know exactly like what's going on here. But in reality, like we are born with perfect health, give or take. We're born with it. What removes us from that perfection is in today's world is modern day toxins. So what is why would you keep adding vitamins? If vitamins worked, you can go to chemist warehouse and just pick, like no one would be sick, right? We have to remove what's not meant to be there, and whether it's the spike protein or just any modern day toxins that causes inflammation. So you'll see in Pure Flow, which is our flagship product, it has what's known as proteolytic enzymes, which is nattokinase, bromine, serrapeptase, which you would have seen before. So you can think of them as like your body's like internal cleanup crew. So imagine imagine like a set of biological scissors running through your bloodstream, like trimming away all the proteins and byproducts that your body's struggling to finish clearing.
Yep.
Like your body knows how to do it. It's just like it's just so intense. It's like
So hard because there's so much, so many.
there's so much of it, so much of it. Then you go thinking like, well, how many drugs are they now prescribing? There's another thing you can look at and just research for yourself. It's called the autoimmune industrial complex. Very interesting if you look at that. It's all out there for everyone to read. But anyway,
Might grab some links off you later for to add to.
yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. It sort of like frames everything what's going up here really well. So, um, so yeah, those enzymes clear up the immune debris. They clear the spike protein fragments as well from the mRNA vaccine.
Yeah.
And they deal with chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and mitochondrial strain, which when your immune system's like really struggling to like deal with something, you're going to experience some neurological, I wouldn't say disorders, but strain, like brain fog and lack of energy, right? Like it's the most common thing is like I feel sluggish, I don't have the drive anymore, etc.
Mm.
So, so what's fascinating with those enzymes is that they were once standard in functional medicine before painkillers and symptom suppressors became the default. So now they're making a really powerful comeback because we're facing a modern protein problem, basically inflammation, clotting, debris, overload. So,
Mm.
uh, and it's not just theory. In 2022, there was a study published which showed that nattokinase was able to degrade the spike protein.
Wow.
Uh,
I'm going to ask you that. I was going to say, so what proof have you got that the spike protein is actually going to come out of your body, and also what proof is there that it is out of your body?
yeah, 100%. We can go through the testing shortly for sure. So it was an in vitro, and it did show that it reduced the ability um, to degrade it.
Yeah.
So we didn't stop with just the enzymes. We've got NAC, which you would have heard before. So that helps to dissolve the sulfide bonds in spike protein structures. So think of that as like melting, if the spike stuck to the cell, it's like melting the glue that holds it together.
So good. So
Quercetin as well. So that's known for calming inflammation, protecting your tissues from oxidative stress as well. Um, so it's not about detoxing in some like vague way. It's giving your body the exact tools it needs to do what it's already designed to do, and that's clear out what doesn't belong
mm,
and reclaiming energy basically. So um, the formula has already helped hundreds, if not, there's probably thousands of people now, like reduce or even resolve lingering symptoms such as like chronic fatigue, long COVID, POTS symptoms, type 2 diabetes,
wow.
joint pain and arthritis,
Mm,
clots and varicose veins, like visible like varicose veins.
definitely.
And we've seen like multiple improvements on blood profiles like red blood cells, white blood cells, which are scaringly low for a lot of people. That's your immune. It's related to the immune system as well. Platelets as well, which a lot of people have very low platelets. So yeah. So when it comes to what tests can you do, like that's all anecdotal in one study, right? So what tests can you actually do? There isn't like a just a it'd be nice if there was a swab, right?
Mm,
Um, if they made it that easy, but
yeah.
there's not. There's not. You can do what's known as, and you're going to get some weird looks if you go to your GP, which is interesting. Like
Mm.
my specialty is cortisol, which is related to inflammation and hormones and gut health, and
King
it's just that.
language of the 30 plus community, just so you know, hormones.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I leaned into most, and it's interesting that GPs don't get any form of study on those 3 areas. They don't understand like cortisol or how that lead and gut health and hormones, which like every disease links back to a dysregulation of those three areas in some which way or another.
Nice.
But that's all part of the system designed to keep you reliant, right? So you
One
can
sell one pill forever. Sell, someone a pill a day forever
it's
makes
business, and go back to that Rockefeller story. It all makes logical sense.
yeah,
It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just that it's doing what it's designed to do.
yeah,
That's the easiest way to just like understand.
yeah,
It's just doing what it's designed to do.
yeah. Fully.
Um, that's business,
Yeah, exactly.
so you can do a D-dimer test. So that basically is like D-dimer is a fragment that your body releases when it's breaking down clots.
Yeah.
So if it's elevated, it means you're forming clots and trying to clean them up.
Wow.
And in most post-vaccine or long COVID cases, spike proteins won't trigger that mess like in the first place. So when people start clearing the spike, we see the D-dimer come down and symptoms improve. And it's a very, very cheap test. It's only like a little
Mm,
bit of blood. It's not too much.
that's interesting.
Another marker you might have heard before is like CRP, C-reactive protein. It's a liver. It's a protein your liver makes when there is inflammation. So
Mm,
if CRP is high and D-dimer is high, it's telling your body it's in fight mode. It's dealing with inflammation and clotting, which are very closely related,
yeah.
which fits the spike protein profile. So you
Mm,
can ask for,
yeah.
because when you get your bloods, you can even pay for it at lab test.
Mm. You're going to get some curious looks though, right? Like, those are just not usual things to ask for, are they? Doctors, oh, they're hard to work with where it comes to, trying to take control of your own
You
health
can't
again.
even get your hormones tested as a male anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like hormones, I always say like hormones influence your thoughts, which influence your emotions, which influence your actions. It's literally like how you act and turn up every day. You can't even get a test for now, which is absolutely insane.
And
Uh,
even hormone tests that you do get, which are like usually just to measure like whether you're in perimenopause, they're so inaccurate. They just don't, they're not even worth having. Literally not.
mhm.
Although I must say, and I might link this to this interview as well, that there is a place down in Tauranga, I think there might be one in Hamilton, that do proper actual analysis of hormones. So that would be something worth having. As a secondary to your question, your answer. So okay.
So, well, yeah, what we find is that people you can get the test done, which is always encouraged to do, or as I said, we've had so many positive. We get testimonials every day
Yeah, you do.
from these products, and I've shortchanged them a bit. There's so many more ingredients, and I can tell you one thing with confidence why there's nothing like Pure Flow on the market whatsoever. And that is the one fact, there's a few, but the one main thing is that those proteolytic enzymes, which are so critical, that's like clearing out the protein, right? It's a spike protein, they're proteolytic, they're like little Pac-Man, is like in layman's terms. So
Mhm.
they do not like stomach acid.
Yeah.
Okay, like 70% of them will disappear in stomach acid.
Yeah, literally. So the stomach acid gets rid of them before they can get into your bloodstream as well.
Up to 70%. Yeah.
Yep.
70%. So, excuse me. With Pure Flow, I went everywhere looking for a clean delay release capsule. The
Mm,
reason I say clean is because a lot of capsules out there, if you see like a color or just a plain like white gloss, the
mm.
chances are that is 1 to 2% titanium dioxide, and you don't want that. And it blows my mind that titanium dioxide is in many health products.
Actually, even the healthcare industry, there's a lot of corruption there as well, and fillers inside those vitamins. There's lots of dirty tactics even in the healthcare industry, aren't there? Because at the end of the day, it's about money for a lot of people, and there aren't as many people left now who really genuinely care about people being well. So this is actually such a beautiful product business and business concept and actually, coming from your heart, you actually do passionately want to see people well. And for you, as I've discovered, like just even researching price point and all that sort of thing, you're not even making the money that people would be making off, like for example, my guy, before I came across your product, I went to the health store. I knew what I wanted. I wanted NAC, I wanted Serapatase, I wanted all the things. I knew what I wanted. Because I'd had to detox my son through, he was the only one in our family who decided to take the vax so he could go to the festivals and that, and then he had a cardiac reaction. So first thing I did was want to learn about how to get that out of his system. So I went back to get that stuff for my guy, and there was probably eight, nine, 10 products sitting on the counter that
Mm.
we were going to be buying. And first, my brain was first like, who cares about the cost because it's about health. But the fact of the matter is, I can't actually imagine somebody who's never really taken anything for their health before sit there in the morning and go, okay, two of these this morning, one of those this afternoon, five of those tonight. Don't eat food with this one, eat food with that one. It's just complicated and hard and messy, and
Mm.
people won't do it. And apart from not doing it, they just don't know what they don't know. So they don't know what to get. So the thing about this Pure Flow, which I have right here, just so you know, I have this actually because I take it as well, and I'll tell you about that in a second. Um, is that people like they want to trust it. So I want people to know that it is, a trustworthy product, and that's why we're having this chat now. I did the deep dive as well on the actual products, the ingredients in the product, and I did ask you, but then I also did my due diligence to read the numbers because I was like, yeah, but you only take four of these capsules in the morning, so is it the same volumes or same amount? Are you going to get the same as what you would get by buying all the separate products? So I read through all of that and found that there was mostly more in these capsules than there are in the 10 individual products that I was buying for my son and
Mm.
for so it is a comprehensive, like it's covers all bases, and the volume of the product covers all bases as well. So for me, like I've always been kind of quite healthy anyway. Like I haven't, well, not really, really unhealthy. So I don't feel like I didn't think I was going to get much of a change. And I really haven't had like the high that Omega had. As you know, he was, like I told you, he was like a fly in a jar, like instantly almost for him. By day two, I think it was, he was just like feeling like a whole new human, which is insane. So I started taking it. I didn't have that exact same response, but the things that I noticed were, I it's nighttime. I probably should go to bed. I'm not really tired at all, but I'll go to sleep because it's bedtime. So I wasn't getting the whole, oh, I'm so exhausted, I need sleep. Morning time, there's no like delay getting out of bed. It's not like, oh, another day, another day, another dollar. It's not like that. It's just like, oh, good morning. It's like that. And then the other thing for me, I think, is I'm a coffee person. I think just more habitual than anything. But I'm like, I don't even want coffee anymore. I just don't want coffee. I just don't, I guess my body just doesn't need coffee now. So I don't need that pep. I don't need any of that. I've just got the sustained energy daily, and that's from this. So apart from that, I know I didn't take the vax, so I don't know, I didn't know what I needed this for. But I also have heard, which we'll talk about in the next topic, is the shedding thing. I did start to notice symptoms in myself from when I started going out with Mega, because he was vaccinated and he did have some pretty yuck symptoms, and I noticed things in me that I felt like didn't feel like myself. So I have noticed that those things are gone as well. So it blows my ever-loving mind. This product is actually quite phenomenal, and I know that it will work for people who have had the vaccine, people who haven't had it as well. So can you speak a little bit more into that as well, like people who have not taken the vax? Because I know that there's still shedding, and we'll talk about that in another call, but yeah, is it good for everybody?
Oh, 100%. So there's so much to unpack there. So I'll start off with that's how it was designed to make it easy
Yeah.
for everyday people that hey, if they just want to give it a go or they've been referred, it's not like 500, 600, or even $1,000, which we've seen some naturopaths
Yeah.
do their sort of collection for. And there's some naturopaths that really don't like our products, and there's some naturopaths for that reason.
Yeah.
And there's some naturopaths that just absolutely love it and they just sell it to the world and they just like, finally, like, this is what we've been waiting for. So, with those delay release capsules, that it means that it bypasses your stomach acid and actually gets into your small intestine, which is where all the magic happens. Okay.
Mm.
So, over and above that, it's got a probiotic in there, which is Bacillus subtilis, which is kind of like, it's not a one purpose sort of strain. It instructs every single one of those ingredients to do its job. It's like if all the ingredients were instruments, the bacillus is the orchestra. It's a soil-based bacteria. It's like when people say, "Oh, the kids just need to go play in the dirt." What? It's Bacillus subtilis. That's what they literally are getting from the soil. So that, and then you're exactly right. Like people notice that they don't need as much caffeine and
Mm.
they got more energy. Now, what does that mean? As I said, I've studied cortisol, which is the stress hormone, for many years, and when the body's in, when you have inflammation in your body, your cortisol goes up. It's a stress hormone to get you through that event. It's the body on high alert.
Mm.
So that's going to burn out your adrenal system. So you're going to have those crashes during the day, which a lot of people have. You just don't have them anymore.
No.
Like
Well,
don't have them anymore at all. Um, so what does that also say? Like, well, if your adrenals are more in line and you're not producing so much cortisol, then your immune system's not being diverted
mm,
as much. As I
mm.
said before, we don't catch diseases, we create them,
Yeah.
right?
So
Like your immune system is so incredibly strong. And that is also testament to the most common thing. Oh, everyone is sick around me at work, but I'm not.
yeah. Wow.
It's like it's pure flow. So yes, 100% for, like, I've taken it every day since well, we launched in August, but even before then. And I haven't been sick since. A lot of people haven't been sick. And I get my blood tested every 3 months just because I'm like that, and it's fascinating. And even with a lot of people that are trapped in the system and they're getting blood work, like
Yeah.
this is the most beautiful bit of feedback. Like the doctor going, "What have you been doing? Like we've never seen this before. Like you've got no clots and your blood profile's this and your red blood cells up here and your platelets up here. Like what have you been doing?"
That,
And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But that's just testament to, like, I looked at hundreds of COAs of every ingredient, and there's so much rubbish out there. And it was like I wanted the most purest ingredients, the easy delivery system, like even the name, like Purify Me, like with a really great product, and then you've also got a what's it called? Um, oh, the word's just left me. Sorry.
brain.
Oh,
Oh, that's not brain fog. You're just having a little glitch in the main.
placebo effect. The placebo effect is so strong. If you like, I wanted to give this product everything it could possibly
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
do the job that needs to be done, and the placebo of like Purify Me. And I don't know if you bought
Mm.
the daily essentials. It's like the Purify Me daily ritual. Like take a moment to connect and protect myself and etc. It's written on the box. It's just such a powerful thing to when you're consuming something.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, 100% for people that for anyone, like detoxing is bringing you back to homeostasis is a word that you never hear anymore. It's like this like the perfect balance of a human being. So we don't fall sick easily. We have a robust immune system. We don't get knocked down, and we stay disease free for as long as possible.
Only possible. So, and I really think I do really really passionately believe that this product could be that gateway to that. And I haven't seen anything in all of my years of, I mean, I've seen individual products that do, similar things and help with this and help with that, but not one comprehensive product, not something all in one, one capsule. So I feel really hopeful for a couple of reasons that it'll be easy for people,
Yeah.
make it easy for them, and it's just, and that they can trust it because the science is there, but also the testimonials are rolling in thick and fast.
Mm.
I think that's really important as well. Real life, real life testimonials from people who are feeling different. And then the blood work, like I've seen those pictures of the blood. It's amazing. Like you said, the blood doesn't lie, does it? It's literally
No.
going to tell you
Mm.
what's going on in your body. And I've seen the pictures of the blood work, and I can't wait to dive into that a little bit more later. But so I do feel like, and the name, I think that's so thoughtful and so it really does suit and match it. It's, Purify Me. It's just what everybody needs. It's just what everybody needs, not just people who are sick and not just people who have been vaccinated, but the whole literal lot of us, because the world's pretty mucky and
Mm.
it's not getting any less mucky. And so, and as we know, we talked about in the beginning, is doctors they're not really advocating for us anymore so much. They are sort of like just firefighters now. They're just putting out the fires, or they're just like suppressing things, and they're not, we have to advocate for ourselves now. If you want to be well, you need to advocate for yourself. So this, our conversation, I feel like, is just my little bit to advocate for, 30 to 50,000 women in all the 30 plus community. Hopefully, like a good deal of them get to hear about this, because I think that I really feel like it's the trajectory turner for getting back to, like you said, homeostasis, and then, starting to get more well. And who doesn't want to be more well at the end of the day, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it's interesting you said that. We've got two catchphrases in our marketing. One's combat modern toxins. The other one is reclaim sovereignty over your health.
Unreal. Wow.
That's what I encourage everyone to do. It's like you can still go to the doctor. It's perfectly fine. I'm not anti-doctor. It's
Yeah.
like, but there's more options and there's natural options, and natural options have been used for centuries and centuries. So just like before, just ask a few questions, just lean into it and listen to others and their story and yeah. So with the dosage, it's I know that you said like some are lower and some are higher. All those are really specifically clinically dosed. But the thing with dose that people don't talk about is dose is only as effective as the efficacy, as the what you can actually absorb into your body.
Mhm.
Uh, Suppressing the immune system. And what's the magical treatment for everything? Antibiotics.
Mm.
Antibiotics, white, like no one's got bifidobacteria. That's your indigenous bacteria. We do a lot of work with naturopaths and they do stool testing and microbiome testing. No one, like a lot of people now have non-detectable bifidobacteria. We know that pure flow increases and feeds bifidobacteria, which is so critical because then creates an environment which you can actually absorb everything that you're taking. So another thing that people say, I don't know if you've experienced this, but some people's appetite decreases
Mm.
because a lot of people think of appetite with volume. It's actually like your body. A craving is just what your body doesn't have. It's craving something
Yeah.
it needs.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be filling up full of volume to get specific things. But if you can absorb more nutrients from your food, it signals to your receptors that hey, we're actually good. Like some people have said, like we sat down for dinner and I could only get through like 70% of my meal. I had the same meal for
Exactly.
years. It's very common. And that all comes back to nutritional absorption, which is when you go back to like shitty vitamins, they're just packed down with binders. And
Mm.
you can see where it goes. Like you, when your urine looks like Fanta, you know where it's going.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not being absorbed. So yeah.
I must say, like, I did have an experience with antibiotics because I largely stay away from all of that stuff. But I had a experience where I just couldn't avoid having these antibiotics. And also, that's another reason why I knew I wasn't taking the vax because I'm quite allergic to a lot of pharmaceuticals in the way that I get really just I vomit and get really sick and headachy and like the flu and all of that. So I just stay away from as much as I can. I think that probably would have finished me off if I'd got the vax because, I just know my body just couldn't handle it. But I had
Mm,
teeth repair work done, and I had to take these antibiotics and then something or other else. And oh my gosh, when I took it, I felt like I was poisoning myself. It tasted so poison, and I was so freaking out. I was like, I know this is not going to be good for me. And I vomited day and night for 4 days straight, 4 freaking days, taking these things to,
mm,
my gums or antibiotics, whatever it is they gave me. I was so sick. And then after that, my tummy was so bad to the point where, like, I waited for months because I'm not really much of a doctor visiting kind of person. I waited for ages. In the end, I couldn't even drink water because I'd
mm,
drink water and then I would just burn my throat. My stomach was just burning, and I was just too scared to eat or drink. So I went to the doctor finally, told them, what was happening, and they prescribed me omeprazole. So I took the omeprazole. I was desperate. And then I took one of them and I woke up the next morning and I was like, I had none of the burning, right? I had no burning in my tummy or throat. But I could feel that I was still on fire, but I just couldn't, like it was just that my brain and the nerves had disconnected the message. So I knew I was still on fire, but I just couldn't feel it anymore. And that
mm,
freaked me out. I was like, that is so freaky. That's what pharmaceuticals are. They just suppress, or what is it? They just ash out the symptom. Like you still have it, but it just makes it like you feel like you don't have it. And
mm.
then I started studying like what can I take for to heal my gut. So then I went down that journey of the gut healing thing, and now with Purify Me, they have the Pure Flow, which is the detoxy one. They also have the gut health one, and then the mind one. So you cover all the bases.
Yeah, 100%. And we're using that same bacteria because it's just amazing. And, people with IBS, they've got no longer IBS, no bloating, etc. as well. And what antibiotics do is yes, they wipe out the bad bacteria, but they also wipe out the good.
Yeah.
Um, and also the immune suppressant, like in your gut, like it's the second brain for a reason, right? So a large part of your immune system and your serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is in your gut. So disrupting that and wiping out like the environment, that's why like if a female goes on antibiotics for 7 days, the chance of depression goes up 22%, and 14 days goes up to 46%, I believe. So but that's where our serotonin factory is, right? So, and then antidepressants as well. They also suppress that as well. So, you're right. Everything's just a band-aid for a very short-term solution. But if you're inhibiting the one system that gets us to good health, how are you ever going to get there,
Yeah.
right? And another bit of common feedback with pure flow is like, I just don't like, I used to be prescribed antibiotics all the time. I was always sick. And now it's been like 3 months. It's the longest for a long time. I haven't had them, haven't gone to the doctor.
Amazing.
So that's always a promising sign as well. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So if you want to look at something objectively, and you can look up that autoimmune industrial complex,
Yeah.
and this is just a thought, it's not a conclusion, but what an amazing design to create something that is going to trigger an immune response to reveal symptoms that you've already got. Product here, product here, product here, product here. Like, if
Mm,
you look at it objectively and pragmatically, um, then I think you can make sense of the whole situation.
mm,
Mm. And then go, okay, it is what it is. Um, what can I do about it? Because
yeah.
now instead of being a victim of it, now you're in control. Like as soon as you're in control of something, you feel so much better. What can I do? I can do my own research, look at other products. Is it pure for me? I don't know. Like, talk to other people.
Yeah.
uh, things like this, and just do something to reclaim sovereignty over your health.
Something. Yeah, that's exactly it. And yes, I love that reclaim sovereignty of your health. Literally, nobody's going to advocate for you harder than you advocate for yourself. So, and it might take a little bit of work and you might have to, you have to do your due diligence, but if you want to be well, it's going to take a little bit of work maybe. But I do like that we're cutting corners here by this doing this chat and like just, giving people something to look at. And uh, I'll link them to the website and I'll link them to some of those studies as well that you mentioned. But you have got a new website coming out.
Yes, hopefully by next week will be up. Yep, and they'll find a lot more information. It's a nice looking website, but we're going a lot deeper into information there as well. So yeah, so I'll let you know once that's up. So look out for that.
Yeah.
And but on the current one, I went to town on the FAQs. They're easy to find. They're under each product, so you can do a lot of research there, and there's got references. And you can browse through the three different products and see which one suits you, or go for the full detox
Yeah,
kit. Yeah.
that's quite a good one. The essentials packet's got the whole lot in.
Daily essentials, yeah. The Pure Mind is that's doing amazing things. Like people with migraines, they've got no more migraines anymore. Jaw clenching, things like that. It helps with sleep, but ultimately it's designed as a heavy metal detoxifier and a
Wow.
very, very comprehensive one. I haven't seen anything else quite like it. There's four different binders in there. It's got
Yeah.
a big magnesium and L-theanine, which is great for sleep at the end of the day. So Pure Flow at the start of the day, Pure Mind at the end of the day.
Amazing. And I've actually just been frothing, completely frothing the ingredients because again, like I said, I've done a deep dive in every single ingredient and there I'm like, I know that one, I know that one, I know what that's for. Like I know what they're for. So I know when you say Purify Me Flow does this, this, and this, I'm like, but does it? And then I read all the ingredients that I know and I know what they do. And
Mm.
it does. And then, and then the whole like full circle of knowing that, first of all, that you really give a crap. This is you giving, you actually want to help humanity. Secondly, you've made sure that this product isn't just called Purify Me, but it is actually pure, like it's pure
Mm.
sourced, pure product. And just that the whole blimmin' thing actually does what it says it will do because the testimonials are rolling in. So I love it. The whole thing gets the big tick from me, who's nobody important, but it still gets a big tick from me.
Yeah, that's the thing that they're not cheap products to make. They're very expensive. Some of those ingredients are extremely expensive. But one thing I wanted to do was be transparent. And you'll see a lot of nutraceutical companies, they have proprietary blends, particularly in America. And you might have a hero ingredient, but they don't tell you what amount is in there. So I don't want any part of that. I want full disclosure, which is real, basically letting people, because they say that they don't want to let people know their formula.
Mm.
Uh, but I was like, this is to help people. Like, if people can copy it if they want,
Good luck.
yeah, it'd be difficult to.
Mm.
But one thing, just for people that may have had bad experience with capsules, is that there's something also very special about these products. They all contain New Zealand honeydew honey,
Awesome.
and that that is amazing. That's basically a prebiotic. We've got it in a powder form, and that's a prebiotic for that probiotic. Because a probiotic without a prebiotic is useless. It needs food to multiply, right?
Mm.
And what that does specifically is it feeds the bifidobacteria.
Oh,
So that's why that is in there. But over and above that, getting back to the capsules, if people, if I was to say to you, take a few capsules in the morning, first thing, like with no food, with water,
mm.
most people would experience like a repeating of it, right? Like you'd repeat the flavor, it tastes disgusting. We haven't had one person.
I didn't, you know what? I didn't even think of that because I definitely am one of those people who I'll just it'll gas me up straight away having vitamins and definitely nothing like that with these. Nothing. That's how
No, there's nothing. We haven't had anyone because that purpose ingredient in there with the honey, it basically, I mean, it would melt by the time it's in there. It's only a small amount. It's only what's needed. And
Mm.
there's so much in the capsules that we couldn't pack any more. But it's like it soothes the the gut. It soothes the gut, so it almost like seizes it because they say like take with food,
Mm,
but we know that if you take the proteins with um, food, like even protein, it's not gonna work, right? So empty stomach is critical. Um, so a carbohydrate's perfectly fine. So it kind of like in the gut, it would form as its own purpose food, so you don't actually repeat.
it's crazy. That's
Mm.
And I also just quietly quite like that you're supporting New Zealand honey because my sister is a beekeeper and they left to Australia and they got really actually they really got munted by the previous government because they changed
Oh no. Yeah.
honey and all that sort of thing. So the honey businesses have really suffered here in New Zealand. So
Mm.
it's quite nice. You're supporting that. Um, okay, I love this conversation. We just carry on and on, but we will end it here now, and we'll carry on. We'll carry on another. We're going to do Tuesdays for a little bit, eh? Um,
Yeah.
but honestly, I just absolutely love your passion. I know that this is your straight from your heart. You want this so desperately. You want people to be well. You've given your whole entire life and your all your money and all your resources and all of your waking moments and probably sleep. You probably dream about it as well. Like you've given your all to this, and it really shows. And I think your passion for this, for people to be well, is the most important thing. Love it, support it so much, and I can't wait to like have some more chats with you because I think it's a really beautiful product and it's really worth sharing with people. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us because I know you're very busy, but yeah, appreciate that heaps.
No, thank you so much. Been a pleasure. And yeah, based on your feedback here, let's do it again next Tuesday. I'd be keen to hear what people are asking for sure.
Yeah, so
Mm.
get some feedback and get some more questions, and then I'll then I'll have you for another whole hour and a half. Awesome. Thank
Fun. Thank you.